Red Dead Redemption 2 is no longer the king of immersion because a new Rockstar game has risen to claim the throne, and that game is GTA 6. In all honesty, we actually know very little about the gameplay systems, mission design, or story of Rockstar's upcoming masterpiece, but one thing is for sure. It's going to redefine how AAA video games look, going forward into the early 2030s. And even on a base PS5, it looks like GTA 6 is going to deliver some absolutely stunning next-gen visual effects. So, from beer bottles to hair physics, here are all the ways in which GTA 6 beats out RDR2 in terms of realism. First, let's take a look at how the locomotion works in each game. Obviously, horses can't directly be compared to cars and airplanes, but RDR2 did an excellent job of emulating the feel of horse riding with detailed bonding systems, feeding, brushing, and they even animated individual muscles on the body of each horse, so you can tell when a horse is riding really fast that it's exerting itself harder. Not only that, but Rockstar's motion capture even managed to recreate the switch in the gait of a horse as it goes from a brisk trot to a canter, and finally, a full-blown gallop. And your horse dynamically reacts to obstructions in the environment like fallen tree branches, logs, fences, etc., while also leaving behind a trail of hooves on softer surfaces like mud and grass. But GTA 6 doesn't give you just one horse, no. You have hundreds of them under the hood of some of these muscle cars and exotic sportsters. And what immediately stands out in these driving scenes in the GTA 6 trailer is how realistic the chassis and suspension systems are for the cars. Just look at the scene of Lucia hanging onto the window as Jason whips his vehicle around a corner while also jumping over the curb. The way the outer suspension loads up and compresses is accurate to real life, and you can even see the tires flexing and changing shape under load, particularly the front tires, which carry all the weight of the engine and transmission. Body roll is also on point, not as over-exaggerated as GTA 4, but not as arcadey as GTA 5 either. Now let's talk about skyboxes and weather simulation. In RDR2, Rockstar introduced mechanics like volumetric fog and clouds. This is to say, the game treated these as individual 3D objects rather than sprites in the distance, and that also meant light interacted with these clouds and fog in a very realistic way. Bouncing, refracting, shimmering, and scattering in patterns that looked unbelievable when we saw them for the first time in 2018. The global illumination of RDR2 is a masterclass in how realistic art design should be presented, and a lot of the times it feels like you're inside an interactive painting, with how gorgeous some of these landscapes look. And on a clear night, you can even see constellations if you look up into the skies. On rainy days, you can see rainbows. During storms, there is lightning. But how does this compare to GTA 6? Well, based on what we've seen in the trailer footage, especially the opening scene of Trailer 1 near the airport, GTA 6 is going to have some really good skyboxes and lighting, and you can see the airliner even has contrails behind it. You get a real sense of depth, and the clouds change shape, color, and density depending on each scene, which tells us that there is some very detailed weather simulation going on underneath. Just look at this shot of Jason and Lucia on the docks. Do you see the detail in those clouds? Now contrast it with the lighting at night. You could say the difference between the two is night and day. It is so easy to tell when a scene is taking place during dawn, noon, or dusk, just based on the lighting. Very impressive, very immersive. Speaking of immersion though, lighting and fancy skyboxes aren't enough to sell us on the feeling of being a person in a different time and place. We need to interact with objects and people to get a real sense of belonging. Like, we aren't just 3D models walking around on a movie set, or in this case, the carefully crafted world of a video game. So, how does each game handle its NPC AI? After all, nothing takes you out of the experience quicker than interacting with an NPC only for them to give you a blank stare and the same repeating line of dialogue over and over. Well, RDR2's NPCs are famous for not only having unique lines of dialogue based on their mood, but also individual routines. For example, you can literally follow Pearson as he wakes up every morning, chops the vegetables and meat, prepares coffee for the whole camp, and proceeds to add ingredients into the pot for his famous stew. And what makes this so awesome is that depending on the animals that you bring for him, the pieces of meat in the stew will change to reflect that. And it isn't just Pearson. Every NPC in the camp has their own routine where some will read books, others will take smoke breaks after work, and then of course you have Uncle with his lumbago. Hey, don't judge him, lumbago is a cruel and painful death. Jokes aside, the feeling of being part of something bigger than yourself, the feeling of being inside a living, breathing world full of colorful characters, each of whom have their own lives. RDR2 mastered that whole thing. Everything from the campfire stories to random NPC encounters, all the hitchhikers and traveling merchants and highwaymen, it made you feel like you genuinely were an outlaw living in the final days of a 19th century Wild West. What about GTA 6? Does it hold up to the lofty standards set by RDR2? Based on the trailer footage, we can see non-player characters celebrating, partying, engaging in the Vice City nightlife, and driving all sorts of swanky luxury cars. They are also taking selfies, driving boats, and greeting Jason as he drives to the local convenience store to grab a beer. Some NPCs can even be seen admiring Jason's physique on the beach while he's doing bench presses. But if you want to understand the real depths of GTA 6 AI, you'll have to get your hands dirty by diving into some of the leaked info that we've been getting. And probably the most prolific, the most infamous GTA 6 leak of all time came in the form of 90 pre-alpha gameplay clips posted to the GTA forums by a teenager who called himself Tuber Hacker. This guy broke into Rockstar's internal servers using nothing but a hotel TV, Amazon Fire Stick, and mobile phone. Anyway, the actual gameplay clips contain a video of Jason and Lucia raiding a diner, which can't be shown here for obvious reasons. But imagine this: you've got witnesses around you, and there are indicators on some of them telling you how aware they are. Some witnesses know what weapons you're carrying. Some have a mental profile of your physical build and the clothes you're wearing. Others saw you arrive in your car. Now imagine these witnesses reporting all these bits and pieces of info to the police. Instead of RDR2's half-baked wanted system, we now have actual witnesses who observe actual details. And then we have an actual police dispatch with a timer that tells you how long you have before Vice City's finest bust down the doors and pump you full of lead. Pretty cool, right? Also, there was this old 2019 leak from a Redditor who claimed to be a QA tester for GTA 6, and in their post they state that police AI has received a massive overhaul, so instead of swarming you in a straight line altogether or hiding behind cover passively, cops will now split up into teams and try to flank you from multiple angles while communicating between each other to share tactics in real time. This isn't confirmed, but if true, it would be a massive step up not just from RDR2, but any open world game ever. Combat design has also taken a massive step up from RDR2, and once again, we have leaks indicating that Rockstar will be building upon the gore system of RDR2 with the new Rage engine, look at the gameplay section, to make it even more brutal and realistic. And RDR2, yeah, it was already plenty brutal if you look at some of the assassinations and takedowns that you can do in that game. Even in the first GTA 6 trailer, during that police cam section, if you go frame by frame, you can see that the weapons and postures and how the NPCs are holding these guns, it's all very lifelike. In trailer 2, there is a bank robbing scene with Jason and Lucia both using MP5s. But Jason's gun has the stock extended all the way back, while Lucia's stock is only partially extended because, being smaller, she has a shorter length of pull. Jason is also rolling with some kind of red dot, while Lucia's fine with irons, and this further hints towards Jason's military background and his preference for accurate firepower. In another scene, we see Jason shooting his M9 out of a car, and you can literally his wrist flexing and the muzzle flash lighting up the otherwise dark scene, while the slide reciprocates back and forth with each shot. Matter of fact, you can even see the veins and muscles underneath the skin in his forearms, flexing with each shot as he tries to control the recoil. GTA 6 Wildlife versus RDR2 Wildlife. This tells us that GTA 6 will build upon the systems established by RDR2. And the similarities go beyond just guns and gore. GTA 6 will also have a very robust wildlife system, which is evident from this one photo taken on Mount Calaga. It shows a cougar stalking its prey, crouching and walking slowly so as to not scare them away. And there's a lot of other little details too. In this photo of two hunters walking towards their catch, you can see the deer lying on the ground. But did any of you notice this squirrel on the tree? Here, look at this GTA 6 iguana. Now compare it to an iguana in RDR2. The difference is pretty stark. And to close things off, let's just look at some general comparisons. Like the mud in RDR2 versus the mud in GTA 6. Water physics are also heavily improved, which is clear when you watch something like a jet ski or airboat race across the water. Heck, the opening scene of GTA 6 by itself demonstrates how far we've come in terms of character models and lighting, because you can practically tell Jason's height, weight, and max deadlift just by examining this one scene. And if you pay close attention, you can even see the outline of trees reflected in his sunglasses. So ultimately, is GTA 6 going to look better and feel more immersive than RDR2? If the answer isn't obvious by now, yes. And it shouldn't be a surprise, as not only is Rockstar's budget for GTA 6 far greater than RDR2, but they also spent more man-hours and built on existing technology taken from RDR2. So in a way, RDR2 was the last-gen testbed for what would later become GTA 6. But guys, that's all I have for this video, this comparison of GTA 6 versus RDR2. It should come as no surprise that 8 years after RDR2, we're finally getting a game that can dethrone it in terms of visual quality and attention to detail. The only thing that surprised me is it took this long. Back in the 2000s, graphical jumps of this level were something we'd see on an annual basis with how fast graphics tech was developing, but it seems things have stagnated quite a lot, as not even Cyberpunk 2077, as good as it looks, was on the same level as RDR2 in my opinion. But the king has finally been dethroned, and as we can see, it takes a Rockstar game to beat a Rockstar game. Don't forget to like this video and share it with all your friends if you found it entertaining, and feel free to drop your thoughts on which game you think looks better down in the comments. As always, I'll catch you guys in the next video. Until then, goodbye and have fun.